and welcome to a very different but kind of expected episode of A Gamer's Looks at 40. An episode that I knew I would eventually have to do, wasn't quite sure exactly when, and right now is the time to do it. So, to put some very quick context around the show, because I do think there are some new listeners over the course of the last few months, thanks to Earthbound and others. So if you've heard this before, apologies, but I'll state it again. When this podcast first was birthed in my brain a few years ago, it was initially intended to be a year commit. That's what I said to my wife. I'm like, James, I want to do another show. It's going to be a year, and that's it. It's now been 2.5 because that's just the way it's worked out. I mean, that's just literally the way it's worked out. And it's been great. It's been a great ride so far. Of course. I cannot let this show die on the vine. This is my third serious podcast that I've done. My first podcast was in 2005. It was a ska radio show called The Skank and Hepcat Show. It was an extension of my college radio show where I did ska music. That show died instantaneously. I was in a codependent relationship. The woman I was dating at the time grew jealous of the audience I was building on the show. And when she confronted me about that, I simply, to avoid conflict and to avoid any drama in the relationship, I just stopped the show. I deleted the feed. I deleted the MySpace page. Yes, MySpace. That was pre-Twitter. It was pre all that stuff. And I deleted the stuff and ended it with no warning, no goodbyes, no nothing. I just ended it to make her happy. My second show, which was Devs Cast with my friend Joe Coro, we had a great run until I think it was the 2012 season. It was the season after the Devils made it to the Cup Finals. It was a strike-shortened season. It was a half season, and that break between the Devils making it to the conference finals or the Cup Finals and the season restarting just killed the show. And I think we did a couple more once it restarted, and that was it because there's nothing to report on. There's no momentum, and it lost steam and died on the vine. And that one just withered away. It just, one day you had shows, the next minute you had a month between shows, and then it just was no more. This show cannot do that. This show was intended to be a complete work. And I know it sounds pretentious when I put it that way, but that's really how I view it. I want this to be, when it eventually ends, because this cannot go forever. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe I will be a gamer looking at 50. I don't know. But I want this to be a complete work when it's done. I want it to be a body of work, a body of episodes, a collection of stories that is done and complete. I'll probably keep servers on for as long as I can. And I just want this to be a complete entity when it's done. I want it to be bookended. I want it to, as if anybody in 100 years would listen back to all 200 episodes of this show. Who knows, right? I want it to be there complete as a record. And I've said it before. This is like something for my kids to enjoy, hopefully one day. Hey, here's what old dad did for years and years during our formative years as children. But I don't know. That's kind of the goal. So in an attempt to not have this show completely wither away or end abruptly, a break is desperately needed. So as of today, the show is officially going to be on hiatus from this episode for the next 3 months. Yes, 3 whole months. The return is going to be March 4th. So this is not an indefinite hiatus. This is not a hiatus. We'll see you sometime soon. There is an end to this. March 4th will be the first episode back after the 3 months. But it is going to be lengthy. This is a long break that's been a long time coming. It's been nonstop for 2.5 years. And this is a show that requires a lot of work and time and capital and just an effort. So you may be asking yourself, why? Why the break? Why so long? Because this is a sizable break. I know people who have recently are doing 2-week breaks or 3-week breaks. This is 3 months. This is a lot of time. And again, 3 months seems way down the line. It'll be gone in an instant. That's kind of the way time works. But the reason I'm doing this right now is there's a number of reasons. Number one, I'm running out of steam on this show. I am very proud of the work that was done for the Earthbound episodes. I think that turned out better than I could have expected. I was very happy with the results. I think the stories were great. But in the process of creating those episodes, I kind of stopped doing other things. And I stopped interviewing for the Final Fantasy series coming up. I really just started feeling myself grind down a bit. I've not been serving my patrons well. I know that for a fact, and they'll be very kind and say, oh yeah, it's no big deal. It is to me. If you pay for this show, you should get some good value for it. And I don't feel like I've been providing that, which was one of my big fears in doing a Patreon at all. Can I maintain it? That's a totally different set of responsibilities when people are financially backing you. I don't feel like I've been servicing them well. I feel like shows have been late. I feel early access has been late. And those were all signs to me that steam was running out of the engine. Steam was starting to escape the wheels. And like I said before, I don't want this to die in the vine. I just don't want this to kind of wither to a close. When it ends, and it will, I want it to be an end, a coda to the stories and a complete work. So that was one of the first reasons. Secondly, I'm not going to get too much into it, but there's a lot of stuff personally going on that I need to focus on regarding family and kids and the stuff that life presents you. I just need to refocus on that. I need to refocus on my health. I need to start getting more active. I need to move more than 3,000 steps a day. I don't know. I don't look at them. So there's some personal goals I want to reach, and really just a kind of a recharge and reset. Just that recharge and reset. And I just need some time to refocus the show and kind of reflect on what I want this to be. A gamer looks at 40 has to be an evolving thing, or else it's going to get stale for me and worse, stale for you. And while the stories are always going to be new and interesting, hopefully, the format sometimes needs to be played with. And I'm going to be taking this time to really see, what do I want this to be? Can I keep up the pace of the large, 3-month, 4-month series on Final Fantasies? Or do I have to do something a little more simple to keep it more viable? These are all things I'm going to be mulling over the next few months. So you may be asking then, what are you going to do for the next 3 months? Well, I will not be sitting on my hands doing nothing. If you know me, that is an impossibility. I have to do something. But for December, basically nothing. So starting today, through December, through the holidays, I'm just going to be enjoying the holidays. Quite literally. I'm going to be playing some games that I need to catch up on, enjoying the holiday season, which I love. I love Christmas and I love New Year's. I love this the whole season, and casually planning 2024, planning the return. I will be very active on all my socials and on Discord. I'm going to re-up my efforts to be more visible on Discord. It's something I'm not good at, and I'm really trying to be better at being more active and more forward on Discord. So if you want to keep in touch during the hiatus, Twitter, of course, is where I do most of my social media posting. I'll continue that. I'll be just as active as I usually am, and I'll be more active on Discord. If you want to join the Discord community, go to the show notes. There's a link. Click on that link, get into the Discord, and just come on in and have a good time. I'm going to do my best to really try to keep that community lively and really build it up, because it's a one thing I'm just not good at, which is building up the community side of things. It's just, I can make things, but it's hard for me to curate things or evolve communities. It's not a skill that I have. So I'm going to really try to make sure I make that time worth it. Make sure it's a subscription to a Discord you want to have in that list. After December, after the first of the new year, the interviews are going to restart in earnest. Probably within the next couple of weeks, I'm going to start sending out feelers for interviews of people I know I want to talk to in January. I'm going to try not to do any work in December at all. Just let that be the break time. And again, be on social and Discord. January and February will be dedicated to interviews and building episodes. The big series, of course, is going to be Final Fantasy. I still plan on doing that. I don't know if I'm going to return with that. I think I'm going to probably, if all things shake out the way it's in my head, I'll probably have a couple of episodes with some pretty big interviews, solo interviews, to kind of warm back in, and then start Final Fantasy, maybe mid-March to end of March. And again, reimagining how that's going to look as well. So I have some ideas for one-on-one interviews I definitely want to do. I have 2 other series that I do not want this podcast to end before I do Metroid. I have to do Metroid, so that will be the next one. There will be no contest. After Final Fantasy, we'll do Metroid. And I really want to do a series on the Wii. I've been participating in the Nintendo A to Z hashtag thing on Twitter, and it's been a lot of fun, and it's reminded me how interesting the Wii is. I think the Wii is a fascinating console, and I think it's rife for stories, because the Wii of any modern system, and probably any system in the history of video games, brought people together, and it brought video gaming to the masses in the way not Nintendo couldn't do it, Sega couldn't do it, Super Nintendo couldn't do it. The Wii was everywhere. It became a part of pop culture. And I think there are so many interesting stories out there around the Wii as an entity, as an idea, and as just a phenomenon. More than the Switch. I think the Switch is a phenomenon, but the Wii, for some reason, grabbed a hold of everybody, and that was by design. And I think it's fascinating, and I'll do a little market research, but I really want to approach the Wii from the social aspect, from the stories aspect. Who did it touch? Who came to games because of it? Who reconnected with loved ones because of it? Because it was just a thing everyone had to have. And I think there's a lot of stories that we can have that can be shared in that. And I'm really looking forward to just expanding my mind and putting the feelers out and just seeing what comes back in that realm. I want to cover the Wii. I think it's a fascinating console, way more than just the mountains of shovelware and the insane amount of karaoke games and dancing games. It brought people together, and it made gaming as mainstream as it's ever been, and possibly hasn't been since. I don't know. But that's the 2 big ideas from there. So February is going to be show creation, and then the media ramp up. I plan on, you will know when this show is coming back. I will be doing probably a new trailer. There's going to be a logo refresh, I'm assuming. I'm hoping I'll have at least 6 weeks worth of episodes in the can ready to go. That way, when we hit the ground running. I'll continue the Tales of the Bargain Bin series, which kind of breaks up the main episodes nicely and gives me that float. And so we're hitting it back, and I don't see me having to do another hiatus, probably. It's maybe another year at least, because again, these things are cyclical, but you never know what time brings. So what can you expect during the hiatus as a listener of this show? Occasional best of episodes. I'm not going to be releasing stuff every single week on the main feed. I don't want to lock myself in, but I will be releasing the occasional best of episode. I probably won't be promoting it. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But I will be putting out some best ofs. Again, I'm very lucky in that all of my content is very evergreen. It's the stories that were told 2 years ago are still pertinent. They were stories told 2 years ago. So I plan on re-releasing some my favorite episodes, maybe episodes that didn't get enough love the first time around. Probably record a quick intro, just kind of setting it up as a new episode if it is a new listener. That way they realize, hey, this is an old conversation or an old episode. This was episode 10 or whatever. So some occasional best of episodes. I will not be creating any new content during the hiatus at all. No new content of any sort. Not a Tales from the Bargain Bin, not a Christmas special or a holiday special, not a New Year's special. I don't want to do anything new. So no new numbered episode. But again, I will be putting out some of those occasional best of episodes so you can kind of, I don't know, for new people who don't want to go back 15 months to an old episode, repost it. It's kind of like, everyone likes the reruns of their favorite shows, right? So that's the hope for that. So if I work during the break, it's not really a break. I can't do it. No, if it's not, I can't work during the break. Then it's not a break. I also plan to go back to Twitch streaming occasionally. I'm not going to lock myself into a schedule. Again, if I'm in a schedule during the break, it's not a break, but I do plan on popping onto Twitch. You will know ahead of time. Again, stick on the Discord and stick on the Twitter. That's where I'll mostly promote those things, and then come on in and just pop in while I play some random games. I have some ideas for some Twitch streams that I think will be a lot of fun, and we'll probably starting those maybe next week or the week after. You will be told about that. My TikTok, I'm going to keep rolling with that. I'm finding a lot of joy and fun in creating the TikTok videos. They're fun. It's a different part of my brain, the video side of it. And it's just been a lot of fun to do. So I do intend on doing more TikTok stuff. So that would be really the only original content you'll see, because it's original content made from old stuff. Yeah. So because again, I have, 90 something episodes worth of interviews, and a lot of them are cool and would work well in a visual medium. I also plan on guesting on other shows. I've been actively looking for people to guest on, so you will be hearing my voice on Games My Mom Found, I'm sure. Mike's always got a game for me, a show, a movie for me to watch. He always got something, so I'm sure Mike will have me on his show, and a couple other shows I plan on reaching out to do some guest spots, trying to expand the audience that way. I was recently on the Beard Owl podcast, which was so much fun. Please listen to the episode. It was released on Friday. A lot of fun. So I'll be guesting on different shows. My sponsorship with Gamers Week is going to continue. I don't want to let that lapse because, again, I want to stay current with the audience, even though there's no new work being produced. It's important to me. So I'll continue that sponsorship. And the Patreon is paused. It has been paused this whole month and will remain paused until the show starts back up in March. So I will not be accepting any new pledges. I don't feel comfortable taking people's money if I'm not doing new stuff. Simple as that. And I'm sure I could leave it rolling, and the friends who are on there would continue paying the monthly fee, but I don't feel comfortable, and I'm not going to take people's money if they're not getting stuff for it. That can't be a thing. So what can you do in the meantime while this dark era of the podcast is encroaching upon us? Stay involved. My biggest fear in doing this hiatus, and one of the main reasons I've put it off for so long, is I don't want to start from zero. But I've talked to some friends who also do this sort of thing. I've talked to people who've taken hiatuses in the past. How did their numbers suffer? How did their numbers dip? And they did, right? Their numbers dipped. That's just what it is. But I feel like I'd rather have a show that goes on a break and takes the time to refresh and recharge and then return with good work, as opposed to the opposite, which is keeping on, and then quality deteriorates, and then attention deteriorates, and all of a sudden, boom, I'm over it and I'm burnt. I don't want to burn on this. And I'm not to the point where I'm burnt, but I can feel the warning signs of apathy, of like, all right, I gotta get a show done. All right. And that's not good. That will not create good work. And if it's not to the best of my ability, I'm not going to do it. It's just as simple as that. So definitely can stay involved. Join the Discord. Listen to the backlog. Again, if you joined, signed up to the show because you heard me on the Beard Owl podcast, you're now like, hey, I liked you on that show. Now you're not doing anything for 3 months. Go look at that catalog. There's all sorts of stuff back there, and it's all evergreen. It's all old stories. Check them out. Start from the beginning. And before you know it, it'll be March before you know it. And if you do that, I'd appreciate it. That's super cool of you. So thank you. Continue supporting in all of those little ways. Again, commenting, liking, retweeting, all the fun stuff you've been doing. Y'all have been incredible and an amazing audience. And I want to continue doing good work for you. And keep an eye out for the official return. Trust me, you will know. I will not sneak back onto the feed meekly. I will return with a bang. So to summarize it real quick, TLDR, as the children say, summarize. I'm officially on hiatus starting today, today is Monday, November 20th. And I will be on hiatus until Monday, March 4th, 2024. That date can change, but I don't expect it to. I think that is a solid date for me. It was going to be early February. I made it March, so it can be a date I can commit to and stick to, and I'm going to stick to that. I don't see any reason, unless life explodes and goes crazy. There will be no new content produced on the main or patron-only feeds for the duration of the hiatus. I will be posting some best ofs throughout. Patreon is officially closed and it's going to reopen in March. If you are a patron, you know this already. You are no longer paying, but you are still a member and still have access to all the membership perks, including all of the South by Southwest episodes and the extra stuff I've done for patrons only. That is all still there. Those feeds should still be active. If you lost access somehow, some way, let me know. I had to fix something in Patreon. I'll continue creating TikTok videos. I'm going to stay active on Twitter/X, and I'm going to do some Twitch feeds sporadically. I have some fun ideas for this coming month to just go on Twitch, hang out, and do Twitch things. I'll actually play games in front of people. It's fun. I plan on guesting on other podcasts as much as I can, kind of expand the reach of the show and reach out to different audiences. While on hiatus, I'll be working on new episodes, not in December, but January and February. I will be renewing or restarting the interviewing process again in earnest, and I will be producing new episodes. The goal is to have 6 completely done and ready in the can for that March 14th return. And then, of course, I plan on connecting with you and staying in your face. I don't want to disappear off the planet completely. I'm not at that point of burnt. I'm more of a point of just tired. So I plan on staying in contact on Twitter, TikTok, and Discord. Y'all, listen, I know this is a lot, and I really do feel like I'm taking a risk, but I know this community, and I know the community of podcasts I'm a part of and the community of people I've come to know over the last 2.5 years. I've spoken privately with some people about this, and they've all given me their support, literally saying, hey, we'll be back when you come back. And that's very reassuring. And this is not a beg you to come back when I come back, but a reassurance that I am going to come back. This is not an end for good. This is not the I'm over, I'm done, I can't do this anymore announcement. This is me doing what's right for my mental state and for my life state and for what's good for my family and also what's good for this show and the work that it's doing, because this is a sort of podcast that needs time and attention and care. And right now at this moment, I'm not giving it the time, attention, and care it really needs to be really successful, and the time and attention it needs to honor the stories of the people who are gracious enough to spend time with me to talk about, in some cases, things they've never talked about publicly before. So I need to be at my best to serve you, the listener. I need to be at my best to serve my guests, and I need to be at my best to create my best. Lots of the words best in there, but honestly, people who know me know this. If it's not good, I can't do it. I can't do something that I feel is half-assed. And this hiatus is an attempt to recharge, reset, and then hit it again in March with maybe a season 2. I don't plan on doing seasons, but this is like phase 2. I don't know. We will see how it goes come March. Thank you again so much for everything. Y'all have been fantastic over the last 2.5 years. I look forward to chatting with y'all on Twitter. If you have any questions at all, again, Twitter DMs are always open. Join the Discord if you haven't already, or you can email me at agamerlooks4040@gmail.com. And I'll see y'all on the socials. Have a fantastic holiday season, and I will be talking to y'all in March. See you in a few.